Hi, I'm here with weekly numerology, and it's one of my favorite numbers this week. We're working with a 16 frequency, and 16, we do add the 1 and the 6 together and get 7, which says to go inward. 7 likes to go in, but we recognize the 16 as having its own meaning, characteristics, and significance. And so the 16 is the number of kindness and forgiveness. And forgiveness is the one lesson most people avoid. And actually, it's the very thing that keeps them stuck. But not because it's complicated, but because it asks us to let go of something that we might be hanging on to a long time. And the deeper the pain, the deeper the hurt, often the harder it is, right, to let go. Kind of simple math, right? So most people think forgiveness is like the reason, or one of the reasons people don't let go is because they think that by forgiving means like we're agreeing with what happened to us. We're saying that that was okay, and or we're excusing someone else's behavior, and that's really not what it is. Okay, we don't have to agree, make excuses, anything like that to forgive. Okay. And often we are looking outside of ourselves to be like, that person did that and this person did this. And sometimes forgiveness can be easy, like when we're not really that deeply attached to somebody or something, right? Like say somebody cuts you off or like takes a parking space you were about to park in. You might be able to easily forgive that. You're like, okay, I'm going to let that go. I'm not going to let that ruin my day. But if you were involved with somebody and they hurt you deeply and they betrayed you, that can be a little bit more difficult, and we hold on to it because we feel like it protects us. We feel like if we forget about it, if we let it go, it means that it can happen again, right? And we don't want to be hurt again. And so we hang on to it. And then it starts to define what happens to us. That's the hard thing. That's the unfortunate thing, because then it starts to kind of not only live in our mind, but it starts to live in our body. And it starts to change our perception of how we view reality. And we can start attracting the same experience. And maybe you've had that experience where you're like, oh, here we go again. Now I just got hurt again. And we kind of set up this spiral of negative behavior and negative situations that we're assuming are going to hurt us. And then that we keep in this little box, and it's painful in there. And it's not really fun, and it's not really very expansive. So we want to be able to let go of it, right? And sometimes that sounds easy. I know it did for me. And when I was learning about forgiveness, I often had to do it with things outside of me, people outside of me first. But what I ultimately realized was that actually forgiveness was for me. It wasn't for the person that hurt me, even though that frees things up, but actually I needed to go deep in myself and forgive myself for making a mistake or just being in a situation where I didn't see it. Or I didn't see, maybe there were signs, maybe there were some red flags that I didn't see. And the benefit of that is that, oh, okay, well, next time, if so-and-so acts, in a certain way, or say they ghost you, and then you know, they call you back, they ghost you again, they call you back, and you keep playing that out with somebody, even though it hurts. The next time you can just either say something or you can just let go of it and say, that's not the kind of behavior I want to experience in my life. So forgiveness isn't forgetting. It's just, we're not approving it. We're just releasing what happened, and we just let the other person and the other people live. And there's this great slogan that I really like. It's called Live and Let Live. And yes, I let the other people live, but ultimately it lets me live. It lets me be free to live, and to love and experience more of what I really want to experience without the weight of the past. It gives me more clarity, it gives me more space, and ultimately it gives me more freedom. So this week we're focusing on that. It's a great week for it, and you can practice it with people in your intimate circle, or you can even practice it like in the political or what's going on in the world. And you can go inside. You don't have to go in for like a deep meditation. You can just go in for a minute, a few breaths, and be like, am I hanging on to resentment about our political situation or this? And you can just breathe, let go of it, and free yourself. So I know it sounds really easy. Sometimes, and ultimately it is really easy, or I should say it's really simple, but simple isn't always easy. Sometimes it's a process. So you just again, the forgiveness of self, that you're like, why am I not, I'm doing this, and why don't I forgive everybody and everything for everything that's ever been done? And it's a process. So anyway, that's what I have to share for this week. If you want to do some breath work with me, I have a Wednesday morning class. It's on my website, and then I'm on a platform on Friday, this coming Friday, on Insight Timer, and I will put the links below. And if you ever want a numerological reading from me, please reach out, or if you have any questions, concerns, comments, let me know. All right, that's all for now, and we will see you soon. Have a great week.